Hi everyone, welcome back to today's video. For today, we're going to be making these really cute little treat boxes with Thanksgiving coming up and it just kind of being that time of year. I wanted to do something that wasn't just a card or that kind of project and was more of a little treat box that you could set out at your Thanksgiving table. You could give them to friends, family. I think I'll probably make a few of these for my team at work and give it to them just as a little memento or a little thank you, and put probably like a cookie or something in it. Something simple like that. And it's honestly so easy to do. It's literally one of the easiest projects ever. So let's jump into what you actually need to create this project. So we're going to be using the Gather Together stamp set, and really we're just going to be using this one sentiment here. You can use any other stamp set that you have. All we're using from the actual stamp set is the sentiment. So if you have another sentiment that you really like, that you want to use, have at it, go for it. Use whatever is going to work best for you and whatever matches what you actually want to do. As far as ink, oh, I forgot to include this. So we're going to be using our Memento Tuxedo Black ink as well as the Pretty Peacock ink. I have our tags and feathers elements that we're going to be using. So we're going to use a couple of the leaves, and then we're going to use one of the little like wood ring pieces. One of the main reasons I wanted to use these is show you guys how you can use them, because this is my freebie that I'm giving away for the month of November. So anyone, any order that is placed during the month of November using the hostess code that'll populate somewhere on the screen, that's my hostess code for November, and you get a pack of these sent to you completely free for every order placed. So they're super cute. They're really sturdy, and I really like them. This is just one application. I've used them multiple times. This is actually my second pack that I've gone through because I like them so much. So these are really great, and we're going to be using, like I said, both the leaves and the little wood pieces. We're going to be using this ribbon, and now I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. Let me find in my trusty catalog. So another thing to kind of mention, most of this stuff is from the Come Together suite, and this is the Come Together ribbon combo pack. So it's actually this ribbon that I believe is probably crushed curry, along with this other really beautiful ribbon. We're not going to be using this one today, just the crushed curry one, but they both come in a pack together, so you get both of them when you purchase this one. That's amazing ribbon. It's more of a twine really, and it works really well. It's very easy to work with. We're also using our mini pizza boxes. So depending on the designer series paper that you use, we also have these really fun gold boxes that I'll probably also use. I may save these and use them closer to Christmas time, but these are really pretty. So we do have a couple of different options for the boxes. I'm just going to use our standard white boxes for today though. And then we also have the Come Together designer series paper. So I'm going to be using this one, which is like the mint macaron with a bunch of little pumpkins on it. Obviously all of the papers in this pack are double-sided like the normal designer series paper, so you could use any that you really liked. I just happen to like the way that this specific pattern looks, so that's what I'm going to be using today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, the other thing that we're going to be using today is our new Stampin' Up! Trimmer. So if you haven't heard about this, it's the new trimmer. Our old trimmer was retired, and this one is what replaced it. And I will be 100% honest, I love this trimmer way more than I ever loved our older one. I was going to do a comparison of the old one to the new one, and then I remembered that I gave my old one away. So I won't be doing that really, but I can promise you that if you have a non-Stampin' Up! Trimmer, or if you have the older trimmer, definitely think about upgrading to this one. I just like the blade a lot more. You probably can't tell, but the blade is definitely a larger blade. So I find that I get a better cut, a better consistent cut. And then the scoring blade is different. It's actually a little like a metal wheel that scores it, and I find that I get a lot better scoring using this trimmer than the old one. I loved my old one. I had it since I was a demonstrator previously, but I can tell you that I am thrilled with this new one. So If you don't have a trimmer or you have the old one and you're not satisfied with it, or you just want a new one, this is definitely a good option. And I'm not just saying that. I promise you, I would tell you like, it's kind of crap. But I really do actually like this one. So we're also gonna be using our trimmer, but again, you can use any kind of trimmer you want. So normally I tell you guys the dimensions that you're gonna need from your paper. And the reason I didn't is because this one gets a little complicated depending on how you wanna do it. So I figured we just cut our paper together and talk as we go. So I just have a piece here. This is not a full 12 by 12 sheet because I already cut some of this down. But you can start off with a larger piece. You are going to need quite a bit of it. So what I'm going to start off with is actually, I have some scraps here that I just realized that I actually had. So what you're going to do, just to go over, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. This is my first video that I filmed in a couple weeks because I pre-filmed a couple videos because I was on vacation. So it's been a couple weeks since I filmed. I'm just like trying to get back in the groove of it. So to take a step back and talk to you about the dimensions of the paper you need. This is completely up to you and how you want to do it. The way that I did it is I covered the top of my box and then all 4 of these little sides with designer series paper. So for this top piece, you need a piece of paper that is cut at 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then for all of the sides, they're all exactly the same. It is 3 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. So those are your dimensions. If you're using like this kind of paper, it doesn't matter. You can just cut those 5 pieces out in those dimensions because your pattern doesn't matter. For me, because this is a pattern piece, what I wanted to do is so this is the top of my box, so my designer series paper looks normal if I'm looking at it. And then if I turn my box to the right, I have paper and it's also going the same direction, this side as well, the bottom, as well as the top. So if you want to take that approach, it just takes a little bit more finesse to get those cuts correctly. So to cut the top piece, I guess this is the back piece, and then the front piece, all we need to do, and I'm actually just going to start from scratch. All we're going to do is take our designer series paper and you're going to cut it at 3 3/4, or no, sorry, not 3 3/4, 3 1/4. I was doing that correctly. I just said the wrong thing. 3 1/4. And then we have this nice strip here. We're going to take this, I'm going to cut again at 3 1/4. So that's our large piece. And then I'm going to cut again at 3/4 of an inch. And for a second time at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so that's going to give us our top piece, this bottom piece down here, and this piece up here. Okay, so those are our 3 pieces. Now for these side pieces, I want my paper to go this direction, and if I were to just cut another piece, it would look like this. Again, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just a little OCD about things like this, so this is how I went about it. So I want my pieces to be facing the same way, basically. So what I'm gonna do is this is my strip. So again, the width of this is 3 1/4. That's what we want. I'm going to open this bad boy up and I'm going to turn it again and I'm going to cut again at 3 1/4 inches. Okay. So now we have basically the same identical square that we had from this other one. With this piece, I'm going to then cut it, and I'm actually just going to do it on this side because it's a little bit easier, at 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to do a second one at 3/4 of an inch. And now I have all 5 of my pieces. Now you could cut it a different way if you had some different scraps. You do end up with this little piece here because it is that square that we just cut is bigger than you actually need. I just find that's the easiest way to do it, and then you end up with little scraps like this instead of like a large piece that's cut at a weird size. So that's how I do it, but again, it's totally up to you how you want to approach it, right? So now that we have all of our pieces, this is seriously the hardest part, you guys. I promise. This is the most complicated part. And I have to really think about this because I always mess this part up. So I'm also just using some regular old snail. If I can find my runner, there it is. My desk is a complete mess right now. I'm working on some really exciting stuff with Little Moon Creation. I kind of teased it on Facebook the other day, but I'm working on some really, really fun stuff. And there, I just have, if you guys were able to see, like over here to my desk. So I have an L-shaped desk. It goes like this and then like this. Like the entire right side of my desk is a complete mess. And actually this side over here, this corner over here, has a bunch of stuff stacked up over there also. So sorry, I'm working with a little bit of a mess. Oh, you know what? Shoot, I meant to do something before we even got into cutting. Okay, pause that. See, this is all about making mistakes and like, it's not a big deal. It's not a mistake. None of you want to do this. Everything that I just said still applies. I'm just going to take this stuff and set it off to the side for a second. So getting into our little wood pieces, I wanted to do these first only because these little leaves that I have down here, I actually inked them. So let's find our two little leaves. So I'm going to use, so these packs come with a sheet that looks like this that has 6 of these, I don't know, primarily white leaves that just have a stripe down the middle. So I'm going to use one of those, and then there's this other sheet that has 3 of these longer ones and then 2 of these smaller ones. And I'm going to use one of the smaller ones because I just like the way that these leaves look together. Actually, are they the exact same thing? I'm crazy. They're the same thing. So you want to use 2 of the smaller ones is basically what I'm saying. See, I'm learning here as we go. So this is what they look like initially. You could use the white side also. That's very pretty, but I wanted a pop of color basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the flat side, the side that doesn't have any printing on it, and I'm going to take my pretty peacock ink pad here. And this part does get a little messy. I will be 100% honest about it. It does get a little messy, but it's also fun, and the ink wipes off with a baby wipe if you do get any on your hand. So again, I'm going to take the side that doesn't have any printing on it, and all I'm going to do is put it down on my ink pad and just press down a couple times. And I'm pressing down in a few different areas just to make sure that I get ink all over. You could also use your Stampin' Right markers if you wanted to. That I'm sure would look really nice. I just happened to have this ink pad sitting out, and I tried it and I liked the way that it looked, so I'm gonna go with it. I think one of the reasons I like the look is because it's not perfect. You get some of the splotchiness that I really like. Now what I'm going to do, or what I need to do, I should say, is take a piece of paper, which I, of course, don't have a piece of paper because I wasn't prepared. Oh, I have a sticky note right here. Let's just use this sticky note. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to kind of smash it down a couple times to get the extra ink off. It does lighten it, so if you wanted to do it a couple times, or like I said, I think if you probably used your Stampin' Right marker, you would get a nice deep coating, but I'm just going to go with this because I actually really like the imperfect look. And then again, I'm just going to kind of press it down. It's easy to kind of press down on one side and then the other side pops up. Just like that. And then I'm going to, again, press it down onto a piece of paper to kind of get some of that excess ink off. And that's how my 2 little leaves look. So I also want to let these sit for a minute because, like I said, it does get messy. The ink really has to kind of soak into the wood. Once it dries for a little bit, I found that it doesn't transfer anymore. But when you're immediately touching them, they do transfer just a little bit. So that's something to be aware of. And then I'm going to do the same thing, or not the same thing, but a similar thing with my wood piece here. So again, I'm not using the printed side just because I don't want to. I like the other side better. And I'm going to take my sentiment, and we're using the sentiment that says, "May the season bring you smiles and love that will last all year." I think it's just a pretty sentiment. So I'm going to take my Memento ink. You could use the Pretty Peacock ink just to tie it all together. I've just found that, because I've stamped on these a few times, and I find that I like the look with the Memento a little bit better for sentiments. Like just coloring it, I think regular ink works fine. And the regular ink works fine stamping also. You know what? Let's just do it. let's just go with it and see what happens. I just find that sometimes it can bleed a little bit, so just be aware of that. If it does, we'll swap it out and go to the Memento. And then all I'm going to do is just ink it up. Ink it up, stamp it. That's what I meant. Perfect. I think that actually looks very nice. Here, I'll bring this back in so you guys can see it. So with this again though, I'm going to set it off to the side and let it kind of chill out for a few minutes while we put together the rest of our box, because we don't actually need those right this second. They'll come towards the end, but I want to make sure that they have some time to dry. Okay, so back to our box. Now we're going to use all of these pieces and our snail. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I have my box here, and you'll have one side that has this like hole in it. There's actually a hole. You may have to poke it out, and then you have another side that has like this little half tabby bit. Oh, I have dogs going crazy while they're playing together. Hopefully they'll behave. So I take the side that has the hole and I put that furthest away from me. So I have the little tab bit next to me. And this is actually the top of our box. So just to give you some perspective. So I'm going to take our large square and hope that my dogs calm down. Okay, sorry about that. Somebody was at my house. So we put snail on that piece, and again I'm going to put it the way that I want to see it, so facing right side, I guess. I don't know what the technical term for that is, but we're going to put that there. Next, what we're going to do is I'm trying to think of the easiest way to describe this. So I'm going to put the sides on here, and I'm going to flip it this way. I'm trying to think, sorry y'all. That like really threw me off with somebody coming to my house. It's fine. It's really not that big of a deal. It just really threw me off. So I'm going to turn it this way. And if it helps, like for me, it helps to kind of visualize how my box goes. So this is how my box is going to get put together. So when I put these pieces on, I want them to be facing this way. So I turned the box, and now I have my two strips that go on the sides like this. And I'm going to put them just like that. So I'm just going to, again, put a little bit of snail on the back of them. So there's one. And the other. And this may seem kind of crazy and kind of intimidating, but I promise once you do it, it's not really that hard. It's super, super, super easy. So again, this is how my box is going to get put together, right? So this right here is going to be the front flap on my box. So it's going to come up like this. So I want to put this piece. I'm trying to think of which piece. I think I'm going to use this one. And I want it to be facing me because again, that's how my box is going to be, right? Just like that. So, and again, for me, it really helps to kind of start to put my box together to visualize how this actually goes. So now I have this piece and it's facing me. And now I need to put this piece on. So now I'm going to do this, and I want this piece to be going the same way as this top piece. So I'm going to do this and then put it down just like that. So what it ends up being is the three pieces in the middle go all the same way, and then you flip it and the pieces on the side go the opposite way. Does that make sense? It's pretty easy once you actually do it. So now to put our box together. So I put the end that has the hole, I put that next to me again, or closest to me again. I flip it over, and then I just, again, like I did with the little coffin boxes that we had, that I did a video on a few weeks ago, I just like to fold all of the edges so that it's really, really easy to actually create the box. So now that I have everything folded, I'm going to take these little tabs here on the sides and I'm going to fold them in and then fold them up. And I like to, these two little tabs that are closest to me, I like to put my pointer fingers on them, and then with my thumbs, I just pull up this flap in the front. And then once you have it up, you may have to kind of push down the tabs inside, but I'm just gonna fold this in and then it snaps into place. And then that's really our box. You wanna fold in the other pieces, and then the lid just kind of comes in just like that. Super, super, super easy to do and absolutely adorable. And now that we have this, so if I turn to the side, the paper is going the right direction. The bottom, the paper is going the right direction, and it's absolutely adorable. So now what we're going to do is kind of put our box together. So if you were going to put something inside of this, I would say go ahead and do it now. If you wanted to put like some candy in here, or like I said, this is the perfect size for a cookie, you could wrap up, the box is coated on the inside, so you could put your baked good directly in here. I personally, when I put baked goods in these, I wrap it in a little bit of parchment paper first, just in case, and especially because it's not like an airtight box, you always could have just in transport stuff getting in on the side. So I like to wrap my stuff in a little bit of parchment paper first and then put it in here. So you want to do that now if you're gonna, or to fill it, put whatever you want in there. For just the sake of this video, I'm not going to fill it, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. So you want to go ahead and close your box, and then we're going to take our twine, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one end over here, and I'm going to leave, we'll call that about 6-ish inches maybe. Not even, that's probably a little bit less than 6 inches. I'm going to leave that on the side, and then I'm going to wrap the twine around the box once, twice, and then I want to leave about the same amount on the other side. And then I'm going to snip it. Now again, I'm just doing 3 strands on the front, so that's 2 complete turns around the box. But if you wanted to do 8, you could do 8. If you wanted to do 1, you could do 1. It's completely up to you. I just liked the look of the 3 strands, so that's what I did. So now I'm going to take my twine off of my box. I'm going to take my little wood piece here, and I'm going to feed through my little piece of wood. And what I do is I take the 2 ends and I put the piece of wood right in the center. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but you do want it to be in the center. Then to just extra secure it, I'm going to take the tail that's coming out of the wood piece, and I'm just going to put it behind, and I'm going to feed it through one more time just to make sure that my little piece is super secure right there in the middle. And now I have my little wood piece. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to put this right here where I want it on the box, and I put it basically where there's like maybe 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the wood piece to the bottom of my designer series paper. Again, it's up to you. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. And then I'm just going to hold down my piece here. I'm going to wrap it around my box once. And then I'm going to take the other end, I'm going to wrap it around the box a second time. And then you end up with your little tails here on the back. What I like to do, you don't have to, you could just tie it and leave it. I like to put a little piece of tape where these 2 pieces are, just to keep it nice and secure. And then you can move the strings around to get like the placement that you like. But that's kind of how I position the strings on the box. Just like so. Okay, and then I cut these little tails off because I don't like to see them, so I'll just snip it to right where the string or the tape is. So again, you just wrap it around. You could do it any way you want. I just found that's the easiest way to get it consistent every single time. If you wanted to, you could also put a little piece of tape on the sides of the box to keep the sides down, or you could tape like closer to the edge of the box if you were concerned about the strings moving. It doesn't really bother me that much, and people are going to take it apart anyway, so it's not the end of the world. So we are almost done. The next thing I'm going to do is just take a piece of this twine, and again, it's up to you how large of a piece you want to cut. All we're going to do is make a bow. This part is completely optional. If you don't want a bow, you don't have to do it. I just think it adds a cute little touch to the, sorry, I think I may have made this a little too small, but let's see if we can get it to work. I think it just adds a cute little touch to the piece of wood, but again, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And I'm just going to kind of play with it. This string or this twine is really, really, really nice for making bows. They stay very easily, and I'm horrible at making bows, and that one came together really easily like you just saw. So I'm going to take a glue dot, and I'm going to use a glue dot to put this down. You can use whatever you want. You could use the fine tip glue pen if you wanted to. You could use, like I said, really anything. I just find that the glue dots work best, and I just kind of roll it on the end of my take your pick tool and then stick it down on the piece of wood. It's gonna wanna stick to your tool, but if you just take your bow and stick your bow down just like that, it sticks very, very easily. And it just gives it a nice little finishing touch, I think. So you could absolutely stop here. I think this looks adorable. It's very, very easy to do. And you could crank these out really quick. You could stop here. I, again, liked and wanted that pop of color. So I'm going to bring in my little feathers, and I'm just going to kind of position them where I think I want them to go, and then pull this down and then kind of move them around, see where I actually want them to go. I think that looks good. So now again, I'm going to take my glue dots for this just because I think they work the best. And I'm going to take one. Oops. It's sticking to my finger. There we go. And a second one. Stick it down right there, and then I'm going to take this one. And you can see I got a little bit of ink on my desk, so they're not totally dry. I would give them like an hour or so if you want it to be totally dry, but it doesn't really concern me. I'll just wipe my desk off when I'm done and let them dry as they sit. I'm not overly concerned about it. And then again, I'm just going to take this one. About there is where I want it, and just stick it down. And there we go. See, I'll even show you. I'm going to grab a baby wipe. Wipe up my desk. It wipes up super easily, so don't worry about that, and don't be afraid just because of that. So that is our cute little project for today. I hope you really liked this one. It's very, very, very simple. It seems kind of intimidating with putting the paper on the box, but once you do it a couple times, it's so, so easy. And I promise it'll turn out perfectly. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, if you want a free pack of the little wood embellishments, all you have to do is place an order through my Stampin' Up store at littlemooncreation.stampinup.net. You can get all of the products and a little update from me just by visiting the coordinating blog post for this project, which is the first link in the description box below. Or you can visit littlemooncreation.com, and that'll take you to all of the places I just talked about. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you're doing fantastic, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!